put you on the spot, Bear. We have a gentleman here named Bear Wood that has been in the community now for about 2 years.
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. He plays professional football in the Canadian League, but he actually lives here in Wetumpka, and then he's gone for a few months, and then he comes back to Wetumpka. So it's good to have you here with us tonight. And Bear, would you lead us in a word of prayer before we start?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you tonight for all your many blessings, Lord. Lord, thank you for this great town. Thank you for this great country, Lord. We just want to send a prayer out to all those who are serving our country right now, that you stay with them, Lord, and every night and every day. And Lord, help us do what's right. Help us pray for our leaders constantly so that they make the right decisions. Lord, we thank you for your salvation. We thank you for all that you do for us. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Okay, on the work session tonight, on the new business, resolution number 2016-3-7, Elmore County multi-jurisdictional all hazards mitigation plan resolution. Jason, you want to speak to that?
This is with the county EMA. Eric Jones is going to come tonight, kind of drop the ball because until the last minute he has something going on. He said we go ahead and adopt it. This is just a 5-year update that they do. They went from natural hazards to include all hazards, and this helps with federal funding as well. All the local counties and cities are adopting it as well, and we're on the list to take care of that for them.
Do you have any questions about this litigation plan? Okay. Then item 2 tonight on the new business for the first presentation is the budget for 2015-16, and this is the first time it's presented. As you know, when we came in, when the year changed, and we rolled the budget over from the prior year and just operated under that same budget, which we're still operating under now. And then to come back in February, March, and approve the new budget. So you have the numbers in front of you, and this is the first presentation of it. You can either ask questions tonight, if you have questions tonight, or you have 2 weeks to come in and sit down with the finance office and go over anything you would like to go over and any questions you would like to ask. Budget is quite complicated. What the law says, the law instructs the mayor that he must present a budget to the council. So that's what I have done with the help of finance and the clerk. We have presented the budget for your inspection, and then at the next meeting for your approval. So are there any questions this evening? If not, then we'll just give you the opportunity to come in during the next 2 weeks and sit down and go over, and we'll answer any questions that you have. A lot of documentation that we may not be able to bring here tonight that we have in the office. So most of the numbers, you have the correct numbers here, but any questions that you may ask, we may have to go back into the files to find those answers. Okay. So we'll move on and handle that within the next 2 weeks. Before we move into, let me move back up here on the work session and give Mr. Greer and Coach Dickerson an opportunity to give us an update on the Wetumpka Sportsplex and the Dr. MLK Jr. Multicultural Center, and tell us exactly where we are and when we're going to be breaking ground and getting started, and if you would. Coach, Tex. She gonna leave you.
Most of you that were here, you've all seen this. So. Most of the folks that are here, when Mr. Cook was here and did this rendering of the MLK concept, what we have done over the past 2 months, I imagine, and we have taken out the baseball field that was located right here. We've taken out the basketball court. We've opened up this entire area so far. Within the next week or two, we'll take down the poles. Our first plan is to put a water line through here, Tex, is that correct? Put a water line through here that will go in here. It has to be a 3-inch water line. That's the reason why we have to come from 111 exactly, not Lancaster. The second step is we're going to put patio right outside the recreation center. Those are the two first things, other than demolition of the concession stand in the area in there. So the first thing we start working on is the pipeline, then patio. Water line comes in. Eventually, Mr. Percy Gill and I were planning to go to Tuscaloosa a week or two ago. It was canceled. He's rescheduling because they have a beautiful splash pad there to see how they operate there. While we're on this area, well, Tex, why don't you talk about the football field, because you were saying.
We're in the process now of doing what engineering we're doing on the football field. That was the softball field down in the lower area, as everybody has known it. This drawing here is the conceptual that was done by Combs Cook earlier. The concession stand will actually go right into the middle here in this bleacher area. And it's been changed a little so we'll have parking around this way. The reserve pile of soil that's out here now will be starting to be moved once we do the staking between now and May 1. We'll be working in conjunction with the county to do the work on moving that soil to that area and to level this area out here going north between the field and the Coos River Parkway to get the drainage correct out here. The lighting will come back, of course. It's going to be taken down. The old poles that are there now are planning to be taken down within the next 2 or 3 weeks, as are the others up at the MLK Center.
We had a long discussion with the president and CEO of the YMCA River Region, Mr. Gary Cobb, in the past couple of weeks, and they've already done a feasibility study on whether or not it's right to bring the YMCA from the hill to the location on our complex. And their next move is to do a study, which that was approved by them just last week. So now it's going to take about 6 weeks to do the study. And what the study is what they're going to do is basically go throughout the community to see if there is a need to move and enlarge the present YMCA from up on top of the hill to this location here. And when that's completed, then we'll know whether or not we can get started in raising the money to bring the YMCA to this location. But we had a very successful meeting with Mr. Cobb just last week. The other area, which is not on this rendering, is the present sports complex where the baseball and softball field are. We're going to put a maintenance building in the middle of both of those areas, which is under construction as we speak. And that should be the last of anything that we put in that location, right? There's no other archery. We just got the contract signed today or last week that archery will will come here within the next month. They'll start moving on bringing in the archery range over in the river side of the land that the city owns. Anyone have any questions? We probably skipped some things.
Let's talk about the,
One thing here before we go to questions, just so everybody understands where the Y location is, real good. This is the existing teacher's home right here. And this is Lancaster. So you see where the location is there.
okay, the river walk, the bridge,
Yes,
the river walk, and what's the,
we were anticipating starting on it the first of this month. We're waiting on the grant to be finished. The river walk continuing from the Spain Center to the Sportsplex, including a bridge over that gorge over there. Hopefully we'll begin by the end of this month.
that would be, that river walk, walkway would be then connected all the way from the 14 bypass to the ravine that separates the Indian property from the city's property back here. So it's gonna be a pretty long river walk. We had shared with Percy this last week before we had Percy, let me explain to you where he is. He's in Washington at the National League of Cities, and what we did on, was it Thursday or Friday? It was Thursday. Brought him in and went over a complete update. He has worked very closely with Coach and Tex on this particular project and where we are. Right now, we're bound a little tight with monies, and we're trying to take the monies that we have to move on what we can do right now. Because at a point in time, we will be able to go back, and we're chasing other grants also, but at some point in time, soccer, the entire thing will be completed. And that would give us 175 acres from almost touching Highway 111 back to the river. It's beautiful, beautiful facility. The facility, last weekend, there was another tournament out there. This last weekend, it was baseball. It's my understanding. I don't know how many teams they had, and 16 teams at that tournament. Weekend before, the high school was there and hosted a softball tournament, and I think they had 26 teams that was there for that. Tremendous turnout of people. Where we're suffering right now is we can't sleep. And that hotel is on its way. It's just not happening as quickly as we'd like it. We would like to have it in place by July, probably going to be closer to the end of August, September, before we get the hotel open. But that revenue that's going to give us is going to really allow us to do even other things. But another hotel that we are having discussions about. So hopefully it all begins to turn. But we felt like from the beginning, way back in 2001, when we first purchased that property out there on the 14 bypass, that one day the facility out here will be an economic factor for us. It will give us the tax base revenue that this city needs. And we're still hoping. Hotel's going to have about 55 jobs, which we're excited about that. So, folks, it just does not happen as quickly as we'd like for it to happen. I see things now that I was a part of in 2000, and here we are 16 years later, just now getting it completed. So the complex, if you take the MLK property, it's the most beautiful piece of property that the city of Wetumpka has. The pavilion that we're talking about, it goes up there on top of that hill that will allow you for parties and functions and things like that. It's going to be awesome, and the view that you have. And I remember when we fought the battle of cutting down the trees along the old road that wound down from the Black History Museum and the teacher's house back down under the hill. It was like pulling teeth to get them, to give us permission to go in there and clean that up and get that undergrowth out of there and those trees out there. But now when you come across that bypass, it's wide open and it looks good. And it's a beautiful view over there. So it takes time. And I appreciate the council being willing to work with us on helping move these things forward. Any other questions? You folks have any questions concerning this?
Have we filed for the permit to begin on the soccer fields?
The permit would be the ditch to find out if there's any little micronisms, whatever you call them, swimming in what we know is a drainage ditch over there. But they tell us we have to look close and make sure.
We just got that back
But we
from
just,
Max just last Friday. So we're reviewing it.
when we're ready to move forward with that, to begin that study, people have been around here a long time, they'll tell you, it's just a drainage ditch. That just handles a runoff of water when it rains, and that's all Ted, you're older than me. That's all I remember. That's all I remember it ever being. But I see the folks over here that you're familiar with Marshall Street, and you're familiar with the creek that came off of the river that came back up behind Marshall Street. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about because you live over there. Okay? That's where this bridge goes, is to get us across that ravine from one end to the other. Most beautiful view of the river back there. And some of us have been here for 50 years, or Tech's been here 80, and we've never seen that part of the river.
I'd like, if I could, I'd like to commend Coach Dickerson and the staff at the sports complex. This tournament this weekend, they were there for maybe only one day, they were there for like 9 in the morning.
Not me, the staff, they did it.
They did a great job. The
Yeah.
staff, they really worked hard at it.
Wink
It's a
to
lot
the
of hard
staff.
work.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well, that's part of, when you see that, and we were talking about the budget, we'll get into that in 2 weeks, but a lot of that will reflect in the budget because of people that we have to pay. And most of that's overtime in the tax. The people who come in and work that are actually being paid overtime to come in and work.
We had 30 hours overtime
On that
term.
on the term. Any other questions? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and enter into the council meeting part of the